Hey, welcome back to the Star Report. This is Jason, and this week, the Star Report is for May the 11th, 2022. And we have several things just going crazy in the cosmos, which are probably leading to larger, grander scale things that are on the horizon, either for yourself personally, which is usually what this report is about the personal impact of the stars on you, but also culturally and in the world itself might be weighed upon by these cosmic shifts. So we just got done last week with a whole bunch of things that were intense. We were in Pluto retrograde and pre-shadow. Yesterday, Mercury retrograde joined Pluto in the retrograde, right? So we have these really intense planets. I believe Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Not in the notes for today because it's not that important. But and then Mercury is retrograde for another 3 weeks, so on into June the 4th or 5th, and that energy, that retrograde, is going to have the typical effects that those retrogrades do. The Mercury is going to intensify technology problems. So your internet might be slow. Your cell phone might have low bars. You yourself will have issues and just frustration trying to use technology and even spiritual technology, right? So your meditations might be a little bit weird or wonky, or maybe you can't find the silence within to sort of do those meditations. And that should be something you should definitely pay attention to in this Mercury retrograde. As usual, and as per the last several months, we have the issue with old relationships or old habits or old points of view or lessons that we thought we've learned that have sort of come back for a review. Have we learned them? Do we want to learn them again? Do we want to learn them at a higher level? And so it's easy to sort of notice that you or your partner in business and or personal relationships might have been not communicating well, or communicating and not hearing each other. And so this Mercury retrograde out on the Pluto retrograde, especially this week with the things that are coming, are really going to also have a pull or a effect on your personal self-worth, right? Have you been treating yourself right? So it's going to come up for review, the relationship with you and yourself. Are you giving yourself enough credit? Are you maximizing your own skill set? Are you being all that you can be? And so that Mercury retrograde is kind of a deeper trigger, right? It's easy to have the relationship issues and want to fight and then talk about the other person's retrograde that needs to be fixed or whatever's going on with them. And it's affecting you because you're evolved. But this Mercury retrograde is really going to affect your relationship with yourself. And so even if you can avoid the argument or put away blame to other people in your life, this one is going to be how can you be better, or what should you be do better, or how have you been settling, right? How have you not been maximizing who you are and what you could be doing in the world? So pay attention to that. That's just today, right? Today, Jupiter moves into Aries, the most powerful planet. So most powerful meaning that it's the largest, has the most magnetic pull. Usually it's attributed to sort of protective magnetic shield from the asteroid belt, right? Jupiter will magnetize and take little rocks from flying and hitting the Earth as we spin through the galaxy. And so the Jupiter moves into Aries today. Jupiter is really about choosing new business, choosing new things, right? It's going to give you that energy if you're working on the Mercury retrograde relationship with yourself, that you can sort of have this Jupiter push into action, into change, into all these high-minded things that you thought you could be doing or you should have been doing by now at this point of your life. This is going to give you the energy to sort of look at that and sort of examine what those vistas, what those mountaintops, those peaks could be for you, or how to get there. And so this is an evaluation period which starts today. And then this is a 12-year cycle where Jupiter moves on. Jupiter is so big and it takes forever to get around the sun. And so this 12-year cycle involved in Jupiter means that you have to subtract all the way back to the last time the planet was in Aries was around 2010, 2011. And so when it was in Aries, Aries is the sign of war. And so there is this sense where you're going to feel like you're going to war with yourself, or war over who you are creating, and at war with who society's telling you to be, who your relationships are telling you to be, and who you've always wanted to be, right? So there is a war going on in comprehension of the self, of what it means to be you in this world. And so you can also look at planetary stuff, what was happening in 2010, 2011, and sort of say that that's coming back for another cycle. Jupiter in Aries is pretty intense. And so that's today. So, right, all the stuffs. As I checked the solar energy or the solar weather for today, the sun had been quiet all week, right? So you were probably starting like, hey, I'm getting some focus. Things are great. And then yesterday, Mercury retrograde hit. Technology started to go wonky. You started to doubt yourself and what you're supposed to be doing in this life. And then today hits Jupiter in Aries. And so that really intensified stuff starts to go on. And so that war with yourself also, every time Jupiter has been in Aries, World War I, World War II were declared during Jupiter in Aries. So you should sort of pay attention to that, especially if you're looking at world news, or if that's concerning or part of your purview that you pay attention to every day, that war and world war happen beyond your mind or in your focus. That might be for you to solve or to work on in how to integrate that kind of energy into your life, which leads into the sun energy, which is kicking that off, started to flare overnight, right? So the intensified calm was sort of triggered by the fire into this war sort of footing today, right? So you're lit, ready for a fight. And so tomorrow, Thursday, which would be May the 12th, May the 12th is, let's see, make sure I get this right, the cosmic kite, right? So basically 4 constellations or 4 heavenly bodies, or in a sort of cross, grand cross, it's not grand cross, they're in a cross. And so that's going to be Mercury and Pluto, which are both in retrograde, and then also Neptune and the moon, right? And so that grand sort of idea is, who are you spiritually? Neptune is about spiritual, deep, emotional healing kind of stuff. Neptune is usually associated with Atlantis and crystal technology and deep spiritual understanding and ancient past, or ancient humans that were modified and or magnified or optimized, as it were. And so that energy that we're going to hit tomorrow is going to be, what does all this mean to question your reality, right? And so you're going to see all these things you can be, and you're going to be almost the energy of, are we there yet? Or am I there yet? Or why am I not there yet? And so that's a perspective you can choose. This is just sort of a promise of the future, right? So tomorrow you can be in the energy of seeing your future, your potential, what you've been working and building towards. And it's just sort of showing you the results of all the work you've been doing on yourself, all the results you've been doing on your relationship, that are going to start to be in the mind tomorrow, right? Activated by all these planetary things, and giving you the ability to see the highest peak that you can get to. And to sort of goad you on or encourage you to keep moving towards, right? And so if you have the energy and the magnetism of Jupiter to push into this kite, then you can really choose to fly higher in your expectations of yourself, and even the actual physical results of those beliefs that you have about what you're supposed to be doing. So yeah, awesome, full potential coming our way. And that's just 2 days into the report. Friday is Friday the 13th. Which has all kinds of suspicious lore around it, and that lore is really about watching what you do, or things can go wonky. But the energy of 13 and Friday the 13th is really goddess energy, and that goddess energy is really intense at the beginning of May, and then having to do with the moon as well, right? And so Friday the 13th is the only Friday the 13th of 2022. And that energy coinciding with the beginning of May here in well, I guess Western Europe also celebrates this still. And then here in South Texas, where I reside, there's still a lot of German heritage. And so Mayfest is really a sort of goddess celebration where April the 30th, leading into May the 1st, which is when Mayfest traditionally fell. That was the celebration of the return or the veneration of the womb, the witch, the goddess energy to create the newness, right? It's the end of winter and the beginning of the warm season. And a lot of those ceremonies that were practiced in ancient Germany with, I believe they were the Gauls back in the day, right? Back in ancient Germany, those celebrations were really the first week of May. You would start to put ribbons. It would be courting season, right? So this divine goddess, this divine courting season, the males of that time would go and tie ribbons in the front yard of the women that they liked. And then on leap years, those women would have women's choice, right? Women would tie ribbons in the yards of the men that they liked. So pretty cool stuff. But that divine goddess energy really hitting hard on Friday, right? And so we're still kind of within that May 1st celebration, depending on how long the May bomb stood or how many people that were in the village, the celebration would extend out. And so Friday the 13th, awesome. It's going to be good energy, right? So you should sort of use that energy to sort of calm down and embody and bring in all the tools and energy and focus that you're going to need to get to that vista that you're going to hit tomorrow, Thursday. So Friday the 13th. Then that leads us into a weekend of really intense energy too. Oh, you thought I was done? Nah, Jason's still talking and we still got more stuff to hit. The Sunday, Monday is the full moon, full blood moon. Blood moon just means that it's going to be sort of red or pink during the full moon eclipse. And so it's morally just full moon energy, right? And the moon energy is also goddess energy, divine feminine, the embodiment of potentiality, of creation, of making things new, of giving birth. So that Sunday, Monday, full moon, blood moon is something to sort of pay attention to, right? It's a reset in the fact that it is also a lunar eclipse that's happening, right? So the moon will be eclipsed during that time, and that's why it's going to turn pink. And so 2 weeks ago, we had the solar eclipse, which was a reset, right? So we've reset our divine masculine and our divine feminine now. And so all of that energy where we've been building the relationship between masculine and feminine, or relationship between partners, or relationship between active and passive business relationships, those things are sort of going to get reset. And this lunar eclipses happen on a cycle as well. So this is the ending of an 18-year cycle, which is happening Sunday, Monday during the eclipse. And so that 18-year cycle would get us back to 2003, 2004, the last, I believe, somewhere around there, if my math is correct. And so what were you doing in 2003, 2004? I was in between myself, just to sort of give you the arc of sort of how things happen. This is where my traditional spiritual training had ended, and I began working or serving in congregations or groups of people in between 2003 and 2004. And interestingly enough, here I am in Brenham, Texas, if you don't know where I'm broadcasting these from. And I began my public service here in the Brenham area over in Austin County, which is the county over from where I'm at, in 2003, 2004. And so that whole 18 years is sort of the arc of where I am, still in spiritual leadership, with a slightly different perspective and a slightly more global idea of what it means to embody this divinity that all the spiritual documents and practices tell us is imbued within us, and how it works in the cosmos. So that week seems intense. The sun is probably going to keep solar flaring during it, so you might be a little foggy on top of the technology of the Mercury retrograde messing with you. You're going to have relationship stuff still coming up like it has been over the last couple of weeks, but this main relationship you need to work on this week is the relationship with yourself and your potential, and sort of use the energy of I believe Thursday in that cosmic kite to see how good it can be and where you're heading and what all this work is doing for you, and then sort of take Friday to sort of get all that energy and ideas in the mix with you. And then that reset with the with the lunar eclipse on Sunday, Monday is going to reset everything. So that's going to leave you for Tuesday, the day before next week's report, to be a day of shifting, right? A day of birth, a day of giving birth to these ideas, these understandings of yourself, your relationships, and your place in the cosmos. So that was a lot of stuff. I talk a little bit faster than because I wanted to cover everything, but those things are going to be affecting everybody. The main one to pay attention to that's going to be the most intense is this Jupiter into Aries, right? And so you're going to have this sort of short trigger where it's giving you the energy to do stuff, but you're going to get frustrated quickly with it not turning out or with it not going as fast as you imagine in your mind. So just give yourself a little bit of patience with that. I hope that you enjoyed this video and all the videos. So if you're looking at this on YouTube, like and subscribe on the bottom where YouTube lets you do that. And then also like and share if you see this on social media so that people can find this report. Until next week, I'm wishing you many blessings.